Hi, welcome to Miss Richardson's U.S. History 5-Minute Lectures. This information will be U.S. Notes 2.7, The Roaring Twenties. It includes information that aligns with the second section of your Unit 2 study guide. Remember, you control the lecture. Pause, write down any questions you have, rewatch as often as you need, and always use your study guide to help you take your notes. Let's go ahead and get started. So you now know that most of American society had extra money in the 1920s, and they wanted to enjoy it. They were so glad World War I was over, and they wanted to have fun and not worry about the rest of the world. So how did they spend this money in order to have fun? Well, Americans began buying items that were considered wants, not needs. They became a consumer society, as I told you before, spending money on all sorts of new technologies to make life easier and more fun. Radios, vacuum cleaners, washing machines, cars, they all were really popular goods. In addition to the radio, other entertainments also gained in popularity. Movies were a huge business and another area where people could enjoy themselves. The first talking picture, The Jazz Singer, was released in 1927. Prior to this, all movies were silent films, with music played to go along with the action, and the screens would actually have words on them to help tell the story. After 1927 and The Jazz Singer, more and more movies included sound recorded in the studios. These movies also helped to create a national culture, along with radio shows. All Americans, regardless of the area of the country they lived in, now saw the same movies and listened to the same radio shows. They heard the same advertisements. This led to all people in America desiring the same products and created a national identity that had not existed prior to the 1920s. Part of this new national identity included common music. In the 1920s, a new popular music developed, jazz. The music was edgier and more risque than previous music, and had actually developed from African American traditional songs and music. Jazz gained in popularity as more and more radio stations across the country played it, and more young Americans felt it fit their fun, playful lifestyle. These young, playful Americans were called flappers. The term's generally used when applied to women who were bucking the norms of society, those who were not conforming. Traditional values were set aside by this group, the flappers, and they cut their hair short with short bobs. They wore short-ish skirts, short for the time period, not for today. They danced, they drank, they smoked, and they generally basically acted very unladylike for the time. Flappers were challenging the traditional roles. They wanted to enjoy themselves, have fun, and spend their extra money. They listened to jazz in clubs, and these clubs were called speakeasies. The clubs sold illegal alcohol that they bought from bootleggers. This was a huge profit to be made in the illegal alcohol industry, and gangsters, speakeasy owners, and other bootleggers worked together to get rich from Amendment 18. So Amendment 19 kind of gave women more freedoms. 18 also gave them some more freedoms and changed society. So I've already told you about Amendment 18 and Prohibition in the 1920s, so I won't go too deep into this. Just remember that the speakeasies were the places that sold the alcohol, and flappers often hung out in these places, drinking, dancing, and listening to jazz. This epitomizes the 1920s flapper culture. The one group that did not really have any extra money and did not get to invest in the stock market and was still struggling were the farmers. So while everyone else was having a great time, farmers were still struggling and working very hard. So this is the end of U.S. Notes 2.7. I hope you learned something, and I will see you in class.